let's have a look at the settings for Auto Snipe on the Ethereum blockchain. Let's go to the main menu, which here, start. And now make sure you're on the Ethereum blockchain by clicking on Chains, Ethereum. Here we have the Auto Snipe settings for Ethereum. Now here we have the buy presets, so 0.1 ETH, 0.2, 0.5, 1. And again, you can change that on the main menu in settings. After that, you have X amount of ETH. So, here you would enter the amount of ETH you would actually like to purchase. So let's say, for example, I click X amount of ETH. Here, it'll tell me enter the amount to buy. So let's say, for example, I put 0.002 and I hit enter, then I can buy that X amount of ETH. After that, we have the same as in base, wallet 1, wallet 2, or all wallets. Your Ethereum wallet or address is the same on all chains. So the Ethereum blockchain, the base blockchain, the Binance Smart Chain, and so on. You have maximum transaction, and that limits the percent of token supply you're buying. So it's great for avoiding failed snipes on volatile launches. Then you have minimum tokens where you can set the minimum percent of the supply you want to receive. So let's say, for example, 1% or whatever minimum supply. It's one or the other. So you can have maximum transaction enabled or minimum tokens enabled. You can't have both of them. Here you have your slippage. So you can set your slippage to 100%, 50%, 20%, 80%, you decide. Of course, you can change it down here. So Auto Sniper slippage, enter the slippage amount. Here, I'm going to enter, let's say 50%, enter. Next, we have the FOF, first or fail, and it's turned on by default. So what is first or fail? Well, first or fail is basically saying that if I'm not the first in the block, okay, when the token goes live, then I don't want to send a transaction. All right, so that is currently turned on. You can turn it off to disable that. But you want to be buying at the absolute floor price versus buying after, let's say, a 10x pump. Another reason why you might want to have it on is so that you can avoid gas fees on bad entries. Okay, so we're on the Ethereum blockchain here. So gas or GUI is a little more expensive than the base blockchain. You want to be first in the block when that token goes live so that you get the very best price, okay? And you're first to buy. Now, to get that, you would have to give a tip. It's your bribe amount, your tip amount, your MEV or MEV amount. And to change that, to increase it or decrease it, you'll simply click on it. And here it says, enter the MEV, tip, bribe, that you're willing to pay to be first in the block. So we have anti-rug, and it protects you against honeypots, blacklists, shady tokens, and so on. All right, so I'll keep mine on. Next, we have pre-approved. And if you'd like to sell your tokens fast when you've purchased those tokens, then, you can simply click on pre-approved. So I've done that, pre-approved. Now let's go on to settings. You have your minimum liquidity. And basically what you're saying is that that token needs to have at least $1,000 in the liquidity pool in order for me to buy it. So mine is set at 1,000. Of course, you can change that by simply clicking on it and typing whatever number you want. So now I've set mine to 500. My buy tax, again, the same concept applies as the base blockchain. Here we have the buy tax. So what is your maximum buy tax you're willing to accept for this snipe? Sell tax as well. So for example, if the token contract address had a buy tax of 20%, your snipe will not go through. If it has a sell tax of, let's say, for example, 21%, your snipe will not go through. Obviously, you can change these by simply clicking on it. And here, let's say I'll put 15. And here, my sell tax, let's say I'll put 10. Okay, so those are easy to change. Again, we have the alpha feature, which is for detecting honeypots, blacklist, and so on. Red, you're protected. Green, you're not protected against those. Okay, so use this with caution and only if you know what you're doing. Now let's go into settings for the Ethereum snipe. The first thing we have is our backup MEV. Now, backup MEV is if our first bribe fails, then we have a second bribe or tip. So here you can change that to, let's say, for example, 0.1. So we're not out of the game yet. Minimum liquidity, of course, the minimum liquidity in the token pool, okay, at launch. Is it 500? Do you want it to be 1,000? So what is your minimum liquidity for a contract? Okay, you can change that as well. Let's say $800. Okay, my buy tax is 10. You can change that. If you set your buy tax at a particular percent and the contract or the token that you're purchasing has more than that percent, then your snipe will not go through. So here I'm going to set mine to 20%. Okay. Same thing for sell tax. I would like to set it at, let's say, 10%. So if the sell tax is more than 10%, your snipe will not go through. Next, we have alpha, and this is the protection against any kind of rug pull, blacklist, and so on. So red means that I'm protected. Green, I'm not protected. I would prefer to keep that on red. If you have it on green, make sure you've done your research and you know what you're doing. Okay, so again, red means that I am protected. The bot will protect me against those. Green means that I'm not protected. Here we have the backup feature. So if my initial transaction did not go through, I have my backup MEV, which is a little bit higher. So that means I might get in if the first one fails, and the backup has to be on. So if I turn this off, I won't get another transaction. Okay, so if the first one fails, that's it. Make sure you set your backup MEV, okay, if you have your backup transaction enabled, to an amount that you are willing to pay. Now we're back to the sniping menu. So now all you need to do is enter the amount of ETH you would like to use to purchase your tokens, and you're good to go. Your snipe will be auto-saved, and you can find them in orders pending. And that is how you auto-snipe on the Ethereum blockchain. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next tutorial.